Hello, my friends, and welcome to the behind the scenes of my channel. And as you can tell, yes, you're looking at my desktop full of a lot of games a lot of stuff rather, that I have been messing around with, and a few games you have seen, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge and Zwei the Argus Adventure, to name a few that I have on my Steam. And speaking of Steam, we're going to actually look at what I got on Steam right here. And the last thing you see here was the Jackbox Party Pack 2, which I'm just going to remove from the list like so. And My Heroes 1 Justice 2, which I'm also going to take off this list like so, because it just didn't work out. As most of y'all can tell. Don't know why, but it just didn't work out. I also have to remember every time I show off some kind of Steam game, it has to somehow be colorly synced in order to work. Not just basically, what you see here. It's like basically what you see here, like basically you're seeing my wallpaper. My wallpaper is that of Gundam. And I'm going to tell you why. I grew up in the 80s. So my first... This explains why I somehow have an affinity towards mechs. When I was younger, I grew up with such shows like Voltron, Robotech. This is long before I knew their actual titles, by the way. So I grew up with Voltron, Robotech, Starcom, and robotics and the like. Even with the action shows like G.I. Joe and Transformers and like, all the stuff that Hasbro and Marvel did, long before what they are now, Marvel, I was a Marvel kid. Okay? So, growing up with Marvel, I only have, basically one character I actually did like, and that was Spider-Man. Because I always thought Spider-Man was cool, honestly. Because, he's basically like the everyday guy. The guy you wouldn't expect to be a hero, And he's basically like the underdog. You really look at it, Peter Parker is the underdog. As compared to everybody else who took up the mantle, Peter Parker is the eternal underdog. I won't go into any more details. It's just who he is that makes him the underdog, and why he is personally why I happen to like him. It's because he wants more out of his life. That's pretty much how everybody wants. That's the name of the game. Everybody wants more out of their life. They want to do more. They want to be more. They want to reach full potential, but they don't know how to. You know what I mean? It's like the same here with me. I want to be something more than I am. And at the same time, I want to be within the boundaries of, say, being satisfied with what I do and the outcome of what it brings. So I want to be satisfied all over the place. That's my aim in life. I want to be 100% satisfied. So even what I'm doing now, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm doing all this summer stuff. Like normally my summer would be like this. June, I'm not doing anything. Basically June, I'm just like busy trying to do this and this and this and this. June, July, August, Well, on channel, you know what I'm doing, Kamikame, and I do it every year. But the thing is, I look for different stuff to do as far as Kamikame is concerned, right? And when it comes down to it, my little break that I usually do, which is AX, it's been compromised because of COVID. And ever since then, I just haven't had a feel to go to AX. I mean, not as in money wise aside, I just haven't had the real need to go down to AX. You know, it's more like, do I really want to? Do I really want to be around these people? It's not because of the COVID thing. It's more like it's not social anxiety either. I don't really have that because really I'm an artist, and I you know what the funny thing is? It took one episode of Persona 5 Strikers to make me realize that artists are a very strange lot. They are a lonely bunch. And deep down, I realize that I'm lonely. Lonely in the sense that there are people in this world who just don't understand me. And that's okay. I'm the type that just don't need to be understood. Just the fact that you understand what I'm doing. And the fact remains that what I'm doing is I'm trying to make something of my time. I'm trying to do something of my time. I'm trying to make sure that the ball stays rolling to where I come to the desired outcome I want. Just so it makes things a lot easier for me. You know? It's like I want to do more as far as Let's Plays are concerned. I want to do more as far as streams are concerned. Now, whether I reach the level of affiliate or partner, that's on them less than on me. Because I'll be honest, I can't do rates. Because if I do not care much for raids, because I mean, I'm over on the West Coast. Know this, I stream for about 2-3 hours. I have a long enough day as is when I get up. Because when I get up, it's like the first thing I do is plot out what am I going to do today. Am I going to go downtown LA to get these books of praise so I can get something for it? Am I going to donate them? What am I going to do out in the back? Am I going to have to take the trash out? Am I going to have to do the dishes? Of course, I'm going to have to do the dishes and take the trash out. Am I going to, clean the house? Clean the traffic areas, actually. Stuff like that. I got a lot of things going on in my head. And yet, it takes me about 3 hours to do something. When I'm out, it takes me 3 hours. Because the time I come back in, it will be around 4 or 5 p.m. my time. And depending on the day, oh hey, I got to stream. I gotta put this together. I gotta bring up this game. I gotta ready this up and see who's on Discord. If nobody's on Discord, I'm just gonna say, oh, bloop, bloop, bloop. Okay, I'm streaming. Boop, let's go. And after a long day, I'm like, for those who don't know, that's a half yawn and a sigh. Ay. That's what it is. Ay. I mean, everybody has a yai. You know, a half song, a half yawn and half sigh. It's a yai. Not the character from Mega Man Battle Network. It's a yai. Y-I-G-H. A yawn sigh. Or a yai. And let me tell you, the things that goes on in my head sometimes, I don't really talk about it because I don't think people can understand what goes on inside my head. And, you know, thing is, for people who don't know about me, my past is that of, well, since I have a disability, the hardest thing I can say is how to handle it mentally. Because of one thing that I couldn't stand, but I had to deal with, and that's adjustment. I had to adjust through a lot of things in life. I had to adjust with my family being snowballed. I mean, really, you think about it, I mean, that's the big thing I had to deal with. My family snowballing death. Started from my grandmother. No, wait, it was my dad, then my grandmother, then my grandfather, then my aunts, my uncles, my mom, and stepdad. And then I had to adjust with coping with it all. That's hard. That's difficult. And on top of that, then I come on here. Basically, it's basically like my field, my AOI, my area of influence is basically like expands. It's like and it's like white noise, you know, it really just feels like that. Sometimes it's difficult for me to do a stream sometimes, and sometimes it's difficult to even record a video because sometimes you want to be in the right mood for it. It's very difficult. And for what it's worth, yeah, my thoughts are pinballing, you know. So, I think I mentioned that. That's the hard part. Now, I should go back to my influences of why I'm into mech so much. And I think I told you, the 80s. The 80s basically was very mech heavy. So I was into Voltron. This explains why I'm into SRW on Wednesdays. It's basically like you're looking at basically what I grew up with. I grew up with a lot of robots. I grew up watching a lot of Transformers, Robotech, Starcom, and like long before we knew other corrective names, long before we knew what was really going on. Anime was basically, you know, basically just that. It was basically my life, like everybody else's. And so it played a pivotal part in what I wanted to be when I grew up. 13 years old, or maybe before that, I was doing mock playwrights of, say, video games. Basically, going into a big-ass headcanon. If you think I got a headcanon big now, Should have seen me when I was a kid. I had a big ass headcanon. I used to brainstorm a lot of ideas. Like maybe 50 ideas at a time, and basically like, okay. Growing up, I'm going to say 12 to say 18. 12 to 18. Basically, I was just in my headcanon the entire time. It's like, I mean, you remember Number Man from Mega Man Battle Network? That was basically me. I was just like, that's all it was. Just basically like, I was basically in my headcanon just thinking about ideas. It's like, okay, this, just me writing down this and doing playwrights and whatnot. And whenever asked, what would you like to be when you grow up? I said, well, at first it was being a judge. Then I thought about it, like, nah, couldn't be a judge. It's not that I didn't want to. It's like, I don't know why I said I wanted to be a judge. Just didn't understand why. And now, at one point I just said I want to be a writer, but I wanted to expand on that and just say, I just want to be an artist. After, like I said, it took one moment in that earlier stream that I did Monday just to make me realize I like being an artist. I like to be imaginative. I enjoy being imaginative. It's basically, I'm thinking how big and wide and vast my ideas are. And at the same time, I'm like, pretty much this is me when I'm basically not doing anything. When I'm not really recording anything or, just basically, just my head canon's just like that. It's like, my head canon's just going off like, just like it's a war in space going on, or, there's some fireworks happening or something like that. Something like that, but even more so, it's like, oh, hey, this is what's going on. So you alright? Yeah, I'm alright. Just a lot of things just happening, and, I don't really talk about it so much because, like I said, it's tough being me. And I don't often talk about what goes on behind the scenes with me. And the most difficult thing I've been going through is what's been happening with me. I just been like, okay, what do I do? How to go about this, and what can I do? Personally, what can I personally do to make things better for myself? What could I, aside from what I've been doing? So this is my time. I need to do this. When I had to do A, B, C, D, F, G, and I had to go through A through Z, 0 to 9, and whatnot. And it's just all sorts of crazy. And I don't really talk about it because, like I said, I don't hardly think about myself that much. I don't hold myself in high regard as an individual. As much as I like to say, I want to be noticed. The truth is, it leaves me with only 2 words. And those 2 words I dread so much. Then what? Because it's always there. And every time it's like, I do something that's worth my time, it's worth the effort and worth anything, and then say, hey, then what? It's kind of fun when you think about it. really, it's kind of funny when you really think about it. Because a lot of things just happen to change me, and from what I've been doing, it's just been tiresome. I've been roaming around the city far and wide through bus and on foot, looking for places that would appreciate what I have to offer. Because I don't mind, saying I give up a part of this just to say, well, I got something I can help to say, oh, well, I got something. It's not, it's not like, say, something from Public Clearinghouse, but it's something I made. I made this much, and so what am I gonna do? So, well, I got ideas. But those ideas, if I look very hard enough and be resourceful, so one of those ideas is getting myself a better chair. Because what I'm sitting on right now is a stool. If I actually had a chair with back support, there's one I saw outside. It was, neighbors, right next to our house. So I'm considering of asking them. I said, in my head, I'm like, well, just go up to the doorstep and say, hello, I got a question. You mind if I take that? Because, y'all not using it, you feel it doesn't have use, I'll take it off your hands, and just bring it in, clean it, make sure, there's no bugs or anything out there. It's like, well, I could do that. No problem. Plus, back support. Most important thing, back support. And on top of that, it helps things because, let's say I want to do a PS4 Let's Play, but I don't want to have to do this, which is turn my head and manage to do this. And, at the same time, oh, hey, let me look at my walkthrough right here. At the same time, look at the screen and just go from there. It's, make things a little bit simpler for me because, I'm basically doing Let's Plays and whatnot. So, as it regardless of me saying it's URG, it's still a Let's Play regardless of regardless of what it says. It is still considered a Let's Play. So it doesn't mean, oh, well, no, it really is. Because most people do not know what URG means. It means underrated games. So instead of just saying underrated games full out, it's just URG. Because that's what they are. It's like, people never heard of Radia Sinki, Ramayan. How many people have heard of, Tecmo Secret of Stars? Unless somebody say, hey, Izzy. And the last person who told me about this was Ryu. He said, hey, Izzy, have you heard of this game called Tecmo Secret of Stars? I'm like, no. I take in requests. I often take in requests that I feel if it's worth my time in checking out, and if there's somewhat of a better version of it, not just the version that came out, but if it's a better version to where it differs slightly from the original, I'll take that over, what originally got ported over. It's like what I'm doing now with what I've been doing behind the scenes. I've been picking up a lot of fan translations. So while I got your attention on this video, I'm going to go right here, starting with Mason. Since I got this out, we're going to pull up Mason like so. And as you can tell, this is, as you can see, this is basically my lineup. And the most recent games I've been working on, as you can tell, is, well, I finished Usho and Tora Shinin no Taiyo. So, well, there you go. So I just uploaded that quite a bit ago. I finished, let me just do this. And my controller. Sometimes it just don't want to act right, and sometimes it doesn't. But let me just do this real quick. We're going to close it out like so real quick. And reopen it up like so. And like I said, there we go. So what we have here is what I'm going to be streaming Friday, Captain Tsubasa Super Striker. I finished Usho and Tora. And I finished that during, while playing Inuyasha and Sengoku Basara. And Samurai Warriors 3. And Super Chinese World. Yes, I've been busy during the entirety of this season. Because like I said, usually summer's when I really start ramping up on videos. So sometimes be like 3, sometimes be 2, and depending on what's going on outside, I may double up or triple up or maybe quadruple up on some days. Only because if I'm needed elsewhere, okay, I'm needed elsewhere. I mean, growing up, mind you, as I mentioned, with a disability, it sort of puts extra pressure on me because that means I have to push myself. I had to push myself just so I don't become a statistic. It's not because, oh, I'm doing this because, no, I'm doing this mainly because it's something that just needed to be done, and, you know, I don't want to be like a burden. You know, everybody can just say, well, he's this and that. I was like, yeah, I'm into it. One side sure than the other. It's always been like that. Has anything been done about it up until now? No. Now, they're working on it. That's all you know. So therefore, that's what stems from that. And it's the same thing with streams. I have to push myself. I have to say, look, I'm just as good as anybody else without the bells and whistles. And I can pretty much say this. I can come out and say, look, if you don't appreciate just me just playing a simple game without all the bells and whistles, you don't deserve to be here. Or it has to have this and this, and like I said, oh, it has to be cosmetic, huh? I remember I said that once in a community, and I basically just said, I've been going through a whole lot of shit, and I don't like how I feel when I go through a lot of shit. I really don't. It's just not like me, and I do not like it. I do not like feeling like I gotta go through a lot of shit just to prove, oh, I exist. I had to do that a lot when I was a kid because, me being bullied because I have a disability, or being talked about because I, quote unquote, look retarded. Sometimes it's very difficult because cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy. That means it's mostly mental. And dealing with mental means daily. So that shit does not turn off. Not in an hour, a minute, even within a second. It's daily. So my speech is affected by this. Not in a sense that, I don't sound like that. No, it basically does affect me. So it's not just a physical thing. It's a mental thing. Thus the name, cerebral palsy. I have petite mal. And I feel that only when under a great amount of stress does that really kick in. And it has like 3 different levels. 4 is when I just basically I totally freak out. Like I'm technically not in my right mind, or I'm strictly running on fumes. Or if not that, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going somewhere to say my brain wants to escape my body. Or I'm not comfortable in my own skin, or I'm not comfortable with who I am. That's what I have to deal with when I'm at level 4 in my petite mal seizures. Not many people know that, but it does exist. And let me tell you, that's hard to really just bring it out like this because I don't talk to a lot of people about this. I don't even mention this to a lot of people about this because, after all this time, I'm kept to my own devices. My own devices being that, what I have to deal with. You don't know what the shit I have. You don't know the shit I go through on a daily basis. And what I go through with this. And it's something that I had to deal with. And those who don't know will know. And those who don't understand will understand eventually. That's a real thing. And that is 100%. I had to deal with this, not you. And the only thing I can say is, are you going to help me or not? Let's come on back, shall we? Like I said, my brain is always busy. So if I jump from one place to another, it only means one thing. My mind stays busy. Back to games. So as I told you, these 2 games, Kyoto Nintendo, otherwise known as Samurai Pizza Cats, the Cats of Tsubasa Super Striker, they're both streamable. I finished this a couple streams back. I went back to this not too long ago. Last Friday. I plan to finish this coming Friday. I don't fucking care if YouTube claims content for Persona 5 because the music is just there. So, bloody what? Get over it. For those who don't know what Godslayer is, Godslayer Sonata of the Distant Heavens, it was brought over here as Crystallis. So I actually got a fan translation of that from CD Romance. So I'm quite excited to be doing that when I get around to doing that. Another game I plan to do for streaming is The Magic of Scheherazade. I did it on channel some years back, and I will be doing it a second time in the name of the Sultan. Yes, be pleased. The Sultan will be coming back. Yes, the name Isfa will be returning far and wide. Don't you worry now. Another series I plan on doing is the original. Well, I should say completing is Super Chinese. Otherwise known as Little Ninja Brothers or Super Ninja Boy or Ninja Boy, take your pick. So Super Chinese 2 Dragon Kids is Little Ninja Brothers. Super Chinese 3 was never released, so therefore that's going to be a treat to do. Ninjora Hoi, I plan to do that. I don't know if I'm going to do it as a Let's Play or a stream. I don't know. Then we got Doraemon. It's not really Doraemon. It's Doraemon. Doraemon. I was thinking about doing a video based off of one of the co-creators of Doraemon's passing, and it basically just slipped my mind. These we did on stream some while back. Of course, this is a hack of Mitsume Gatoru. And this, I forgot what the fuck this is supposed to be. Of course, this is Parody World Monster Party, the original, because that's what it really is called. When it was brought over here, it's called Monster Party, but the whole title is Parody World Monster Party. And there's a reason why it's called that. Because the game basically has more than what the US version showed. So this was a hack of Little Nemo. I don't know what the fuck this was. There's a hack of Wacky Racers. I have no fucking clue this was. All I did on stream. I did these on stream as well. I still need to go back to this. See how old it is? This is what I do sometimes when I'm not really in the mood to really, really want to be in the mode to really record anything. I just want to play a game and just say, put it on watch mode or just listen. I mean, eventually fall asleep on it. Yeah, I just did start up Tecmo Super Bowl some time back. Yeah. 6 months ago. Let me go back here. Let me go back here. I plan to do this as probably as a novel play of sorts, because I remember I saw Franco-Matic do this, and I'd like a good story to tell, and I don't feel like a stream could be good enough to be shown that, so I'd rather just do that on my own time. Now, some of these, in which this one, I remember getting. This is fully translated. It's called Jesus, Tale of the Dreadful Biomonster. That's also one of those adventure novels. This one is a retranslation of Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. I finished Rad Racer, Super Spy Hunter. I remember I did that, but it got boring as hell real quick. But yeah, that's basically all that I have for Mason. So let me close that out. Okay. And another one I plan to show that I might as well just show you what I also have as far as what I've been working on. And mind you, still behind the scenes. So, let's see. What have I been getting lately? Well, let's see. We're going to go into... this you hadn't seen before. This is Neopop. And for those who don't know what Neopop is, this is Neo Geo Pocket. Yeah, so this is Neo Geo Pocket. And they give you games. The most, well, let's see. The most recent games I got for Neo Geo Pocket are the following: Biomotor Unitron, Dive Alert, Evolution, Eternal Dungeons. I was not aware there was a game for Neo Geo Pocket based off of Evolution. I thought it was just Evolution, Far of Promise, which is 2, Worlds, which is 1 and 2. And then I saw this on CD Romance, and I'm like, the hell? I never heard of this. Evolution, Eternal Dungeons. I'm like, okay. It's like with Grandio, Parallel Trippers. I never heard of that. So, you know, this is all I basically got for Neo Geo Pocket. So yeah, you can tell I have been pretty damn busy. Dolphin, of course, I've been busy as all hell with because, well, as you can see, Dolphin basically updates like almost weekly. If I were to pull it up, boop, there it is, another update. And yeah, that's what I usually do whenever I start up a new project. And yes, it runs Wii games. And as you can tell, these are the games I'm currently doing. And yeah, as far as SRW is concerned, I'm cycling through Alpha Gaiden, GameCube, and W. And mind you, I'm going through PlayStation, GameCube, and DS. As much as I would love to do the PS4 games, the problem with that is, yeah, they're only Japan only. So there's no way in the world I could get, say, SRW. The only way I can get another SRW game would be SRW 30. And what I might do is I might just say, hell of it, just fly on down to World 8, get myself a Steam card, and just like get the games I really want to get, and just like, okay, I'm good, because I got what I wanted for PS4. You know, I'm good. So I'm like, well, what I might do is just do that, just fly on down there early, just say, hey, give me my. I said, what you got? Okay, I'm out. Just fly on out of there, hook myself up, say, you know what, let's get this, and get this, just like that. I plan to do, you know, the titles you see here, Baiten Kaitos, Eternal Wings, and Lost Ocean. I also have Origins. I have Bomberman Generation, Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee, Luigi's Mansion, Mario Kart Double Dash, Pokemon Coliseum, and Gale of Darkness. Plan to do those sometime soon, or I just plan to do some kind of, you know, Pokemon game. But you know, that goes without saying what I really want to do as far as Pokemon's concerned, because, you know, say, why don't you do Moemon? I can hear one person just saying, why don't you do Moemon? I don't really feel like it sometimes, you know? And then, of course, I have No Cash. I don't really use No Cash. As far as Game Boy is concerned, I use MGBA. And MGBA is rather good. It's better than VBA. It really is. It is so much better than VBA. You have no clue. I mean, while there's RetroArch, I I don't want to go through all that mess. Just to get one game to work. I mean, look at all these games. Look at all these games right here. We got Final Fantasy Legend 1, 2, 3, otherwise known as Saga. Zoid Saga Fusors. Hagane no Renkin Jutsushi Omade no Some Kyoku. Chokorak. Little Master Raibaku Raikuban no Densetsu, and Super Robot Pinball. Those are all the games I've been, just running tests with. These three you see, you've actually seen me do a video on them. This I may do like following up on, say, maybe Inuyasha, if not something else while I'm doing the summer projects. Oof, that sort of thing. I mean, I got a lot of games, mind you. A lot of games, and most likely they're basically stuff I basically picked up through, hunting, like a whole freaking collection of Game Boy games. Cave Noir, you see me do. Densetsu no Staffy, The Legend of Staffy. Grandia, Parallel Tripper. Yeah, Parallel Trippers. Lufia, The Legend Returns. Mother 3. Oh, that's a couple of games I also got from CD Romance, like Sakura Wars, Samurai Kid, El Hazard, The Wanderers, or rather the new Shinpi no Sekai El Hazard, Star Ocean Blue Spear, Telefang, Pokemon Suite, Tomato Adventure, Zoids, and a whole mess of Game Boy games to front and back to no end, from A all the way down to B. I mean, A to all the way down to Z. B. You can tell where my brain is. My brain is everywhere. But like I said, it's every single game in English and Japanese. So that tells you something. And then as we look into basically Keiga. Keiga, as you can tell, I've been like stupidly busy with. I gave up on Willy Beamish only on the grounds that there was one part that just seemed like it was very, very slow, and it's like it's like very pixel perfect, and the only way I could see myself beating Willy Beamish proper is to play the Mega version. So maybe I might look into that down the road. So, I'm done with Spellcaster. Oh my god, Spellcaster. What a nightmare. Splatterhouse, I'm already done with that. I need to go back to Sword of Island. Finish that. Mind you, everything you're looking at are all my old saves. So, Rent a Hero, yeah, I need to go back to finishing that. Sonic and Knuckles, need to finish that. Finish Sonic 1 and 2. Mazing Saga. Oh, Mazing Saga. I mean, I got a lot of these games. Like, if I were to open this. Let's open up Fusion, right? I want to show you how many just how many games I got on Game Gear. Look at it. Look at all this. All these games, and this is Game Gear. We got something from 5-in-1 Fun Pack. Hamaranda Harimanda all the way down to yes, even a game you will never see me play because I just don't have it in me to do it. Megami Tensei. Persona, I can see myself doing because Persona is kind of like, I understand it enough to say, oh, I'm not going through, first person dungeon. I'm going through a dungeon, but it's more like, oh, I don't have to worry about, oh, item? What's item? Hack and slash? Okay, let's do that. Or if it's turn based, okay, whatever. Hey, look at all these. Excuse me. Look at all these games I have, and this is just coming from one collection of games, one collection. This is all the Game Gear games I have fit to print. I'm not saying oh look at all this. No, really. This is basically all the stuff I've picked up over say a couple weeks that I've been doing stuff in between Let's Plays and streams. So this is technically all the known Game Gear games I have fit to print. And if we were to look into Master System, yes, I do have Master System. These are all the Master System games I have fit to print from number 2 all the way down from Alex Kidd all the way down to Zoop or Zoom or Zidion. Take your pick. And then if we were to look into Sega, this is the last. I think what I'm going to do for Nadia is I'm going to just basically record where I last left off, basically on the second chapter, and get past the third chapter, because that's where I originally stopped when I originally did it as a Let's Play. I stopped on the third chapter because I technically got lost in the Nautilus. And I apologize for my friends who actually heard that music. Even though it's by Namco, they didn't know what the hell they were doing as far as that was concerned. The choices for music were god-awful. I don't want to remember it, but I sure as hell want to not remember it. So yeah, I got this. Basically all that's fit to print from that terrible ass Three Ninjas video game, all the way down to Zoo Rescue Daisuken. Maybe I might do a Yu Yu Hakusho game. Maybe after that. I don't know. But I got so many of these games on all three, and we're not going to even mention the Sega CD games I got because there's a small collection of Sega CD games I have. So did I mention Magic Engine, which is basically TurboGrafx 16? Yeah, I got a few of these, which I've never really done. We'll say for Tower of Traga. Some I just really need to redo, just for the sake of saying I need to redo it. And FC being FC, as crazy as they are. I got a few games on Magic Engine. Of course, for those who don't know what Magic Engine is, it is TurboGrafx 16. So if we were to go into Load ROM, Fushigi no Yume no Alice, that's basically Alice in Wonderland. Lady Sword, Energy, Tavrawaga, Bomberman, Bubblegum, Crash, Newtopia, Newtopia 2, Soldier Blade, and Tower Drawaga. Those are all the games I have for TurboGrafx 16. Yes, I did have at one point want through, but you know, I don't have it anymore. It was on my old. It was on the old hard drive I used to have for this computer, but it no longer. You know, the hard drive was basically got corrupted to hell and back. And then we go to this bitch of an emulator right here, known as SNES 9X or ZSNES. Take your pick. I usually go with 9X because, well, as you can tell, 9X just is technically a lot better for me because all I can do is like, oh, boop. You would not see the timer here. You really wouldn't. You would not see the timer here whenever I'm recording off this. But the games I have on this, oh my god, the games I have on it. I forgot to do this. I forgot to, I didn't do that, did I? Let me do that right now. Yes, you're actually seeing me do what I do in the background. In the foreground. Basically, if I don't have it, I have it now. Which is a Breath of Fire 2 hack, which is basically a retranslation of the original Breath of Fire 2 with all the original names. So I just throw that away. Bloop, just like that. I remember I was in Jade Farrell's stream some time back. Because whenever I'm done streaming and he's streaming, I usually pop into his stream just because, you know, what he's been doing on his channel is Digimon Stories Cyber Sleuth and Breath of Fire 2 and Final Fantasy as well as Mega Maker. So therefore sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes when I'm not tired, I pop into his streams. Since he streams late, I pop in there, stay in there for a bit until he's done for the day. By the way, go check out his stream on Twitch. He streams some good stuff, just like the rest of us do in the RCO. We stream a lot of good stuff. Of course, you know, Jay's not a member of our little group, but that's okay. He's still cool people though. Very nice, very, very, very chill. And he often shows he very often shows up on my stream. He's like one of the two people that raid me, or the other person that raids me is big, because sometimes when he's done on his stream, he often raids mine. So between those two people, I get raided, and those two I absolutely enjoy. Out of everybody else that shows up, I actually enjoy their presence while they're in stream. You know, it's cool. You know, out of many few people that do show up in my little streams, because yeah, they are pretty little. But I stream for like 3 hours, so therefore it's like what I'm doing. So I am either beating a long ass game that most people do not know about, or if they do, it's like, why are you doing it? I'm weird like that. Okay? That's all you need to know. I'm weird like that. Respect that. That's all you need to know. Let's see. Yeah, even this. What I have here, I happen to have, I think I have, the original version of, let's see. Because I'm pretty sure I have Eleanor. Where is it? If it's not in there, it's probably in. I remember I did get the original seven saga in here. It's in here. It's Elnard. That's it. That's what it's called. Elnard. For those who don't know what Elnard is, it's the original 7th saga. The original 7th saga with everything as it was before it got ported over horribly, with the game being extremely difficult to where it shouldn't have been extremely difficult. And I mentioned this before, but it's sort of like with the work and design games. I have never noticed it up until, say, I played Vi, and I stopped playing it for, I think, that one reason why it was so hard. It's like, it shouldn't have been hard to begin with. It should have been just simple, but it's like, that's the reason why? Because they just made it harder? And most of us gamers do not know, oh, hey, this is really hard. This is difficult. Why is it so hard? Why is it so difficult? So there's your reason right there. And as you can tell, I have so many games for Super Nintendo. Most of them you will not see me do on this channel. Especially Fire Emblem Terracia 776. Oh no, you will not see me do this. You will not see me do. Well, I've already done the Final Fantasy games. I have different versions of Final Fantasy 4. Thank you. So I got Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, Final Fantasy 4, 10th Anniversary Edition, 6, the way it was meant to be called, 2, 3, and 5. But when I decide to do a Final Fantasy game, I'm going to put everything aside just to do a Final Fantasy game. Same when I get done with Ease. You realize I'm still stuck on... Well, I shouldn't say I'm stuck on Ease. Just I've been so busy with everything else that basically I forget, oh yeah, I need to finish that game too. Same with Tales of Vesperia. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I need to finish that game too. So most people just say, I don't really like it. It's like, yeah, I don't really like it either, but you know what, I gotta play through it. You don't have to play through it, but I had to play through it. Why do I have to play through it? Because it's on me, not on you. That's the reason why. Yeah, I got a lot of weird ass games on Super Nintendos, like the entirety of Super Nintendo and Super Famicom put together. And then, of course, what is it? All this is behind the scenes. This is basically everything that I go through. This is behind the scenes. It's like, even when I have on DS, Decimue. Decimue, as you know, is basically something I don't really mess with per se so much. But as you can tell, you can see what my current loadout for Decimue is. Like Super Robot Tyson Double. I got rid of Thundercats. But all the rest are basically, they're still on here. Like Ash, Archaic, Sealed Heat. That's what Ash means. Mugen Frontier XC. That's OG Saga. SRW OG Saga. Endless Frontier. Star Fox Command with a D-pad hack. Tales of Innocence, which I probably see myself doing as like a stream of sorts. Because my thing is, my policy is this: if I do not finish it mainly on channel, I can always restart it up as a stream and just finish it that way. Because that way I can squeeze in as much as 2-3 hours just by playing through the game and chatting with friends if I'm while streaming it. Just make it worth the time of me streaming it and enjoying myself with friends, and just letting the story work itself through while I'm playing it. That's how it is. And yes, I do have the 2 Saga games. Saga 2, which is Hiho Densetsu, and Saga 3, which is Jiku no Hasha, Shadow or Light. Ore ga omae o mamoru, which is I Will Protect You. Nora and the Time Studio, The Witch of the Mist Forest. That's a interesting one I just found on CD Romance. Mostly everything I found is basically through CD Romance, because that's basically my go-to for finding very obscure games that never been released by man, or rather by those who basically felt, oh, this is not interesting. I beg to differ. For those who don't know why I do these sort of games, it's because of my mom. She was my greatest influence, because in life what she did was she wanted to make sure that I don't stray from the path of what I'm doing. So the one thing behind that is, when I was younger, I think I was around 5 or 6, maybe a little more than 6 or 7 years old. What she did was she went with the choir. She went on a field trip with the choir. Went to New York. I remember very well what she did. She went to New York and she did the following, which was let's see, you little fucker. Get. That, my friends, was a spider. I was having salad earlier. Salads and some sushi, and I'm keeping the condiments for later because I plan to do another yakisoba bun. I don't know if it's going to be open faced, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a yakisoba bun. Maybe this time around it will be with wasabi and ginger and soy sauce. But that sounds delicious, doesn't it? Anyway, what was I saying before? Yeah, how I got into obscure games. My mom, she basically got me interested in a couple of games. And like I said, when I was 7 or 8, between 6, 7, or 8, I don't remember, but I was very young. She went to New York. She went to a game store, a Nintendo. It was pretty much a Nintendo store. I remember the games she brought back. One was Yoshi. Another one was a game I never heard of, and it's called King's Knight by a company named Square. Yeah, same Square. The same Square that became Squaresoft, later Square Enix. And I started playing it, and I lost. I was just trying it out. I wasn't playing it seriously. I was just trying it, And, it was a very obscure game because nobody has ever heard of King's Knight. And this sort of, kind of got me thinking, oh, hey, this is a game I never heard of this game. And over the years, my mom basically did little things. She spent more time with me than my dad did. So whenever I visited my relatives, we always went through going from California, leaving from LAX, going to Houston. And every time we went to Houston and we had some time over before, connecting to our next flight, there was an arcade, so we went to an arcade. We go to this arcade, and this is where she taught me how to play Pac-Man. She taught me how to play Miss Pac-Man. My mom basically spent more time in life with me, more than my dad did. And even before the end of her life, she did that. Even when I was overseas in Japan, she went to Bonsai Anime. It was an old store that was in West LA. And in West LA, you know, we went to these little, very obscure type of it was a very obscure anime show. So what I did was I was looking through it. I'm like, and she just watched me, you know. I remember I was like 13 years old, somewhere around there. I was really just getting into the field of anime. I remember when I was going through this, what was going on was, I tend to remember, I was looking at some CDs. I remember it was very cold that day, so I was wearing a very heavy jacket, very puffy. Man, let me tell you, when it was cold, it was cold. It was just like I felt the chill on my jacket. So technically, I was just looking through some stuff. I remember I picked up a movie book. It was a Sailor Moon Geki Joban book. It was, I remember, what they call over here Promise of the Rose, the R movie. Sailor Moon R, Promise of the Rose. I remember that's what it was. So, bought that for me. As well as, you know, few OSTs. I think I just got the book and maybe one OST. I remember the guy who was standing over me. He was a security guard. I'm like, I'm not sure if he was saying, you know, are you stealing anything or something like that, but it just felt weird. It really did. It just felt like, huh? I said, look, sir, the only reason why I'm wearing this is because it's cold. I'm not stealing anything. You can tell what I'm doing. So I'm looking at this book. It's like I have this book in my hand. It's like, that's all I'm doing. Just like, I'm just looking through this book. It's piquing my interest. It's like, what's wrong with me looking at this book? Seriously, it's like, what the hell is wrong with me looking at this one book? I see no problem with me looking at this book. Come on now. It technically just got me remembering what my mom used to do in life. And the little things she did, you know, even when growing up, even during the times of my most difficult age, which was during high school. During high school was very, very difficult because all I was doing, let me put this down because I'm not really controlling anything. I'm really not doing anything else. I'm just telling a story while at the same time getting all this out of my system because I need to. So what I'm doing, I remember going to Gardena. Gardena had Funkoland, if anybody remembers Funkoland. I remember when we went to Gardena, to this Funkoland, and what we did was we went to check out this place. they had a huge assortment of video games, as far as the eye could see. Had Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn, Dreamcast. All these games, just all the games that were basically out at the time. Even, Nintendo and whatnot. So I said, okay, I'll just pick out a few titles. So, let me see. I picked out 2 that I wanted. One was Magic Knight Rare for the Sega Saturn. The other one was Darkstalkers Night Stalker's Revenge? Yeah, that's what it's called. Darkstalkers. The Night Warriors Darkstalkers Revenge. That's what it was. For a moment they were like, Darkstalker? No, it's Dark. It's like Night Warriors. Night Warriors Darkstalkers Revenge. Both for Sega Saturn. And I just bring it up to the clerk. He says, oh, we don't have it. I remember that time my mom was right beside me. And she just gave me the high sign. She's like, go. No. Just go. Whenever she did this, she basically was gonna lean. And brother, when she leaned. So she was very nice about it. Because when she leaned, she was very nice about it. She said, sir, I cannot believe in it. A place of this establishment doesn't have this kind of game. Now, do you have a... Now, sir, what do you have? If you do not have these games, what do you have? Because let me tell you, my mom was sharp. My mom was very sharp. So, I do not... It's like... She may have been the nicest woman on earth, but she can lean on somebody. And I've seen her do the lean. The lean was oof. And she did it with the nicest smile, and then all of a sudden you just saw the aura just slowly come out like, boom! What? Oh shit! I mean, I've seen her do. I basically practically felt that aura just turn on like. So once she started smiling. Like what happened? That's what happened. She turned on the aura. As soon as she smiled, she turned on the aura, just like. So all you hear, that's all. Just the explosion, the aura explosion. Like, oh, okay. Let me get on out of here. Because when she said, "No, don't worry, honey. I'll handle this." Her smile went like her smile was that of Mrs. Brief. Just picture Mrs. Brief from Dragon Ball. She had the nicest smile, but as soon as she opened her eyes. Oof. What? Oof. What was that? Oof. I can see why she said she gave me the high sign to move. In some cases, I can somehow see that from her in me. 'Cause I can somehow turn it on too. Like, I say, no, it's not a trigger. It's basically, it's like, I'm real nice until you do something stupid, and all of a sudden, Mine don't turn into. Mine is not like a smile that goes like until I open my eyes. No, mine is more like a very tired but very pissed off glare. And when I glare, it's like if I had my webcam equipped on right now, you would just see how that glare would be looking like. It's like, yeah, I look tired. Yeah, I am tired. I deal with life every day. Of course I'm tired. But as soon as you say something stupid, you're going to get the eyebrow. You're going to get the hardest glare coming from me. And I'm going to just say, what the fuck did you say? Otto? Motherfucker? What did you just say? Because I can do lane too. Mine's more like, just ask my friends. I got the lean too. And I got it from my mom, so it's a genetic thing. Because if you know the lean, you know the lean. And you know when the lean happens, you know best to back off. Did I show off everything? I don't think I showed. No. Let's see. I think I didn't show off what I have on Citra. I didn't show off what I have on PlayStation 2. So you know what? I'm gonna do a quickie for you right here. I didn't even show off what's on Redream, but like I said, there's reason why I've been into a lot of obscure games, because technically there were a lot of games that did come out over here, but I never had the chance to play them, or let alone I heard about them, but they were never in my area. The last place I went to over the weekend was I went to this card shop called Minera. And it was, and you know, I was going by what reviewers say, you know, about it. And you know, like I said, I'm looking for places in which I want my stuff to be appreciated. Just like World 8 is a place that I go to that has my business because they appreciate my stuff. You know, it's customer appreciation. Well, you know, we'll trade you this for cash or store credit. And plus, if you use your store credit, that's even better because you don't have to go out of pocket. But, you know, money is kind of off and on. So technically, when I make a nice sell, guess what? I make a nice sell. It's like, oh, here. Here's what I made. There you go. And that's what I've been doing, you know. So like I said, Minero. I checked this place out as a sports card place. And the last thing I remember was I was checking this place out. I was saying, look, if I would bring my collection to you, I had a picture on it on my phone. Showed them what the collection looked like. I said, okay, if I were to bring in my collection, would you take a look at it? I said, that's the only thing. Like, I do not want to accept, well, you know, these cards are such and such. I'm like, yeah, I heard that from I heard that from 2 other places I went to. I hope you guys are different. I said, I don't want to, you know, waste my whole day in just doing this. I said, I want to at least say, I got a little something for it, so I have a place I can go to say, oh, well, what would you give me for this? You know, as the old saying goes, another man's trash is another man's treasure. These are all my treasures, because I kept them when I was 5 years old. I kept all these baseball cards since then. And the only thing I've never done was actually look into the value of these because all I did was collect them. I never went to any card place in all my life that basically just, appreciates them. I said, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for places that appreciate. I don't want to have to go all the way out just to get a set of cards appreciated. I said, if that means, oh, hey, we got to do this online, okay, fine. But that's going to be like, oh, well, how come it look like this? I said, well, it is what it is. Now, how much do you want for these cards? Weird. This is the shit that I go through sometimes. When I'm going out, it's not just because I'm going out. No. I want to conduct business. I want to see what I can do in order to say I am helping. I'm not just laying around. I'm not just doing this. I'm not just, saying, oh, I'm not doing anything. I'm basically saying, well, this is what I'm doing. As if, because most people say, oh, yeah, well, you see, I never played my first is, what do you think I should do as far as gaming is concerned? Get an emulator. You're going to worry about trying to get this version of it? I said, me? Nah. If everything is digital now, then you should take advantage of it. It's like with this. I take full advantage of this. I go to CD Romance for basically the original versions of the games. If not that, I go to Google. I say, okay, I want to get a collection of these. Okay. Takes a few minutes just to collect the whole collection of video games. Like, say, PSP, right? PSP, guess what I got? Crimson Gem Saga, the original version. Crisis Core, Dissidia, Dynasty Warriors Strike Force, Dynasty Warriors 1. They made a PS1 version of it. I mean, a PS2. They made a PSP version of it, I should say. Genso Suikoden, Sumugareshi Hyakunen no Toki. Grand Knight's History, Kurohyo 1 and 2. Monster Hunter Portable 2nd G. Persona 3 Portable. Phantasy Star Portable 1 and 2. Popolo Croy. Samurai Warriors State of War. That's basically 1. Soul Eater Battle Renaissance. Soul Calibur. Broken Destiny. Star Ocean 1 and 2. Which is First Departure and Second Evolution. Sword Art Infinity Moment. Tales of the World Radiant Mythology. Torao Kagaku no Railgun. A certain scientific railgun. That's what it's called. Tokiden Kiwami and Unchained Blades. That's basically all I have for PS2. I mean PSP. For PS2, I still have Arc the Lab, End of Darkness, The Bouncer, Devil May Cry 2, 3, Dragon Quest 4, Front Mission 4, Inuyasha, Secret of the Cursed Mask, Kinnikuman Muscle Grand Prix Max 2, MS Saga New Dawn, Musashi Samurai Legend, Namco Cross Capcom, English patch, The Nightmare Jiraga, Phantasy Star Universe. I'm doing it in the background as well. Red Dead Revolver, Robot Alchemic Drive, Rumble Roses, Rygar, The Legendary Adventure, Shining Force Exa, Shining Tears, Tales of Destiny, Director's Cut, Tales of Abyss. Sword of Theria, you never heard of that. Trust me, I never heard of it either. Urban Reign and Victorious Boxers equals Road to Glory, otherwise known as Hajime no Ippo. And for PS1. The Arc Delay Collection 1 and 2. Beyond the Beyond. Blaster Master Blasting Again. Brave Fencer Musashi. I pretty much kind of see myself doing that as stream, but not so much. Community Poem. Dr. Slump. Guys. God Bless the Ring. Grand Stream Saga. Gunim. Harmful Park. Mega Man X4. Polysnauts. Popolo Croy. Monogatari 2. Racing Lagoon. Soul Blade. Super Robot Wars Alpha Gaiden. Super Tokusatsu Wars 2001. Tail Concerto. Tearing Saga. Tekken 3 Threads of Fate. Tobal number 1, 2, Wild Arms 2, and Xenogears. Technically, that's all that I have. Along with what you see here, 99 Jack. Could you slow down, please? 99 Jack is basically Jack and Daxter, a PC version of Jack and Daxter. My girlfriend sent that to me quite recently. I checked it out. It's pretty good. I also have Street Fighter 1, a Mugen version of Street Fighter 1 by Valkyrie Project. I have considered doing a video on it, but I'm not sure how it will turn out as far as what it will look like. I mean, I did try it out with my current loadout. It looks weird. Really, it does look very weird on this recorder, because like it looks very much sandwiched. 3DS, as far as we can tell. I have Bravely Default, Detective Pikachu, The Great Ace Attorney 2, Dragon Quest 7, Jake Hunter. I forgot what this is. Oh, let me go into my emulator proper. Canary, please. Because it probably needs an update too, more than likely. Yeah, here it is. Yes, updates available. Yes. Yes. You're saying everything that I usually do when I'm not really doing it. You know, when I'm not really recording, this is what I'm doing. So you're actually saying what I do on days that I don't do an actual recording. So this is stuff I go through sometimes when I'm not really wanting to record, but I'm updating my stuff. I'm updating all the known emulators that require an update, and the only two that require an update would be Dolphin and Citra. Citra, of course, is the 360. I mean, 360. The 3DS emulator that I use for some games. But as I've shown you, what I have for this is Apollo Justice, Bravely Default, Detective Pikachu, Great Ace Attorney 2, Kid Icarus Uprising, Pokemon X, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice, Jake Hunter Detective Story, Ghosts of Dusk, and that's it. That's technically all my 3DS games. And I think that's it. I mean, other than what I have on MSX, I don't really use MSX so often. But when I do, or whenever I do, I used to back on my old hard drive, but again, I tend to forget how to get some games to work on that. And when I'm away from certain games for I mean, not certain games, but certain consoles, I tend to forget. Oh, that's what I had to do. I had to relearn how to do it. It really is a thing. And yes, I still have EPXXE, but I don't really use EPXXE more than what I use, for DuckStation. DuckStation is a whole lot better than EPXXE and PSX. Sorry, guys. And of course, I still use P2S2P2. So technically, yeah, this is everything you need to know about what I do on what I do here. So even on Redream, right? I usually do this for Redream, but I usually use OBS for Redream. Whenever I'm recording, I use OBS for Redream. And all I have to do is frame and start recording. And the only two games I have, as far as this is concerned, is Evolution 2 and Skies of Arcadia. And this version of Skies of Arcadia is the original version, with the original voice acting and everything else. Just it wasn't the US port, but it was basically the original. And before that, I used to have you might not see it, but I used to have on here Shenmue 1 and 2, Tech Romancer, and a few other games that I did, like Plasma Sword, Nightmare Bleestein, or Bleestein. I think that's how to pronounce it. Bleestein. Bleestein. That's what it is. Bleestein. Plasma Sword, Nightmare Bleestein. So these are the only two games I have right now, so to speak. I plan to do Skies of Arcadia soon, as well as Evolution 2, because, like I said, I did the first game. I might as well just do Evolution 2, get it out of the way. I might do it for the coming season, which will happen, say, a little after, most likely right after my anniversary special, which is coming up pretty damn soon. Another thing I have, as you can tell, is basically a comic book reader. And the few comic books I have on hand is that of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the movie, and the Usagi Yojimbo Saga 1 and 2. I think it's basically, book 1 and the special edition. So, yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff I just need to really sit down with. And I mean sit down with. And just get through them. But, like I said, probably after I start up my new season. Season. Did I say season? Season! I almost said seizure. Sound like I said seizure, but it's season. Right when I start up my new season, yes, I will bring back the LP to the death. But it'll probably be a little after I'm done with Star Ocean till the end of time. Then I'll really start leaning in on a couple of new games, possibly old. Some I started but never finished, and some I'm just gonna restart just for a second, just saying, hey, I need to restart it. Because there are a couple games I have in need to basically cover as far as the Chest of Obscurity. I have not done Chest of Obscurity in a while. Amazing. I have not done that in a while. So I really need... I got a couple of games that... one was suggested to us by Big called Retrowave, as you can see right here. This one, Uppers, yeah, this game did not work. Super Wagon Adventure, well, you know, Super Wagon Adventure. But these two games I have, Retrowave, I have not tried yet, but I plan to over the weekend, probably. If not this weekend, it's definitely next weekend. And Horgy Hue, which is basically something I remember I saw a review from Studio Mudprints. So those two I plan to do as far as either a review for, you know, Izzy's reviews or maybe the Chest of Obscurity. I'm not sure. But one thing's for certain though. God. In hindsight, throughout all this, this is what has been keeping me sane throughout all this time. Yes, I will remember to vote, okay? Thank you. But as I remember, I do remember all this mess, that as insignificant as it might be to somebody else, this madness kept me sane throughout all the worst times I felt about myself and all the good times I felt about myself. Because I needed the chaos. I needed the booms, the bangs, the explosions. It's sort of, you know, therapeutic. It really is, because, you know, I kind of picture that's what I'm going through in life. It's basically Musil. Basically, I'm going through, you know, 1 versus 1,000, 1,000,000. So be it if it's a douchebag I gotta deal with, a couple of douchebags I gotta deal with while traveling from point A to point B, or to point B to point A again. I gotta deal with life as it comes, and I gotta deal with it the best way I know how. Even when I'm going to my destination, I gotta deal with pricks. Even when I was, quote unquote, working. When I was doing community service work as a teacher, or rather an intern or an assistant, take your pick. In hindsight, I felt I was doing, you know, something that was worthwhile. And in the end, now it just leaves me thinking, what should I do? It's a lot to take in. Yeah, I know. And it's a lot that, like I said, sits in my head. I don't really talk about it that much because I don't know how many people could relate to the stuff that they had to deal with on a daily basis. Because I deal with stuff that goes behind the scenes. And I'm like, this is what I gotta deal with. And technically I've been talking for 2 whole fucking hours almost. But still, it's like, it's a lot that you guys do not know what goes on in the back of my head and what goes on in the background and what creates me, what motivates me, why I do this sort of thing. Because why do I do this stuff now? I do it for my health. I'd rather do that than, say, be out there where all the drunks are, where all the potheads are, where basically the quote-unquote those who gave up on themselves are. And basically just kept saying fuck, 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 fuck. You know, every day in their life they're saying fuck. I said, look, if I'm doing something that is keeping me busy for a couple of hours, and I'm trying to make a buck for myself, and even in the long run, just to help things around here, what little I can make, despite my hardships, I want to come home in one piece, but my sanity's still intact. Hey, it's a win in my book. And that's what it should come down to. And hey, if I come in with a soda pop or a sandwich, that's a bonus. Truly, it is. So that said, it's going to be a very, very long day or evening for me. But by the time I put this up, it'll be Sunday. And even on Sunday, it's going to be a very long evening for me. But at least I won't have this on my mind. So there's that. So it's a win for me. So I don't apologize for me getting all this off my chest for like an almost good solid, 2 solid hours. I forgot to mention I got these little things called Sonic R and Sonic 2 Absolute and Sonic 3 Air. It's stunning. You know, improvements of the original Sonic trilogy, that sort of thing. But, you know, as I said, you basically took a look at what I do when I'm not really recording stuff. You're basically seeing what I do behind the scenes of what I do when I'm not recording. So there you go. So until next time, whatever I plan to do, I know I'm going to be uploading this for Sunday because, like I said, I'm not going to be here Sunday. So you got something from me. Okay? So until next time, I'm still Izzy. And for those that don't know, welcome to my world. It's crazy here. I hope you enjoy. Enjoy your stay.